Introducing Richard Huck Planas, 8th degree master of Kenpo Karate. As a true first-generation student of Ed Parker's, Huck trained at Master Parker's Pasadena School in the late 60s, and as a black belt, he managed and taught at the Pasadena School until 1975. Huck served for over 10 years as the executive vice president of the International Kenpo Karate Association until Master Parker's death. Huck Planas teaches not only the how-to, but the why, based on the rules and principles of the Kenpo system. As Master Parker said, "He who knows how will be the student. He who knows why will be the instructor."
Hello, I'm Richard Planas, and this tape is going to be on Form 4, and I want to talk a little bit about Form 4 here. Form 4 is probably one of the most chopped up or butchered forms in our system, as we say, by all the different variations of it. Mr. Parker used to say that Form 4 was the meat of our system, that if you only knew and understood one form entirely through, if you knew Form 4, you knew Kenpo, as everything we do and all of our rules and principles are basically in there. When we get into doing the form, we'll be doing some breakdown. I'm not going to break it all down, but enough to show some of the reverses and opposites and why and how the form was put together. So we'll get right into it. Okay, now before we get into the form, you'll notice on the floor, like in the previous tapes, we have a tape pattern, and this is just to give you a reference point to see where we're at in the form. Again, it's the clock. Remember the 6, 12, 3, 9 lines are the long lines, and the 10:30, 4:30, 1:30, 7:30 are our short lines. And I'll be calling these times as where we're supposed to be going when we do the form. And I'll move around to adjust, and so you can see this better in the form when I have to do that. Okay, now the salutation is the same basically as before. We use the fingers to call the numbers. So now we have to pull the thumb in. So if you see the hand this way, a lot of people don't pull the thumb in. It looks like 5. So you have to pull the thumb in so we only see the 4 fingers like the thumb is missing. And again, we go strong side first. You'll see this done different in books and other people doing it. The way I'm showing it is the original way we did it, with the reasoning is strong side first, meaning the hand, strong hand, right hand shows the numbers first. The left hand is together and the background with palm forward. And again, we don't touch because we say touch means to add, like 5 plus 1 is 6. We'll be seeing that when we get into Form 6 later. So the background is the left hand, strong side first, with the thumb tucked so we see it from behind. 4, long 4, and then we tuck the other side, 4. Then we go into the We the Warrior and the Scholar, come together, go forth to fight, back to back, roll, to pull the country back together. We have no weapons. We hide our secret and pray for forgiveness if we have to use it. And then we close. And then we'll basically should be in our center line where we're going to start. So I'll start back in the center, and this will be our reference point for the technique. The first technique is protecting fans. We're going to move off to 10:30. Now, you see this done stylized. Lot of motion. People say I like to do this for competition. Now, I'll bring another point out here before we get into this is Kenpo forms are really not meant for competition. Everything is basically where it belongs. So when we move off, we don't want to be in a deep, low stance with your arms really extended, like a lot of people like to see it. Some places you'll go if you enter competition, and you can get graded up for that. Other places will grade you down for it. So you have to know where you're at to be doing it the way you're doing it. In other words, to start off, you see a lot of people like to move off. They come way off. They get real deep and long here. And then they'll come and they'll kick the hole in the roof with the kick. And I just like to do that, but it's not where it goes. It's basically like we're working a boxer. If you see a boxer, when he's moving and slipping punches, he just moves his head a little bit and the punches coming in. All it has to do is miss. And that's all the motion that we're looking for, just getting out of the way of that shot. We don't need to go in the South 40, as we call it. So when we move off, when we just closed, we step up to 10:30 with our left inward parry. And then from here, The right hand's coming in, right at our nose. All we have to do is just move a little bit and wipe that off into your forward bow. See? So the motion again is just, we're following as everything advanced boils down to the figure 8. So when we move, we're just going off the neutral, and then a slight move into the forward. Here we make our catch and our grab and then our pull kick, and this goes to eyes and groin as we pull kick and we land square in a horse. Okay, now you know the technique. If you know the technique lands at 130 with your check and your elbow. But we're putting in an isolation. So we start the technique, but then we lose the technique in the ending move and don't plan up to 130 where we would. We plan in a horse to bring in what we call our hand isolation. Okay, so let's do that one more time. When we move off, we go on parry, parry. We make our grab, our kick and poke, then our elbow. Now when you elbow, remember, don't let your fist pass your center line and watch the faults travel. I think we talked about this earlier, but the hand leaving the body, and the hand is doing all the motion, and the elbow is not moving. So when you keep your hand on your gi, then the elbow has to move. So now we go into the isolation. When we landed with the elbow, we say elbow, then we go into an elbow poke, and this is right out of the finger set. Then we go into a chop poke. So the left hand is doing a chop to the rear, the right hand is doing your 4-finger poke. You can do 5, it doesn't matter. Then we go into our hammer, and then we go into what we call our break. So when we do this, your right hand has to come up and match the angle forward that your left hand has back, and then they can oppose each other in the same amount of travel. And this is nothing but the break of the arm found in glancing salute for the cross push. We're just doing it sideways, or square to the front rather. It was sideways in the form like the man would be over here in the technique. If I moved off and did this, then the man would be here, but we're doing it square. Okay, so this is our break. Then we go into our back knuckle, double back knuckle on the 45-degree angle. This is right out of long 3. Then we reverse that line, turn your hand around, and what we do here, when you do this punch, Mr. Parker used to have us turn your hands and punch at our sides. Just punch right here like you're going to hit yourself. And then you get out of the way. You just break your midsection back where that would miss. See, if you didn't move, you hit yourself. And it misses, and then we close. And this relates to think about it another way. When we did 2, in the end of long 2, when we did our spin, that we don't want to circle our hand around and make our extended outward. Again, Mr. Parker used to have us bring our front hand back like we're going to hit ourselves in the nose. And we get our head out of the way and let this come in a straight line. So that same as this, we're going to hit ourselves, but we get out of the way and come in a straight line. And this is the only form that has a right to left close. Now, the only reason for that, again, category completion is if we don't ever close right to left, it would be missing, but the whole purpose is to stay on our road map. It's the only thing that's going to keep us on our center line. If we did a left to right close, we wouldn't stay on pattern. See, as the forms are laid out on this 8-angle road map that we have to follow. So we'll go through that series of moves again, and we'll put it together for both sides. So from the beginning, we just close. We step off with our parry, parry, our kick poke, elbow, elbow poke, chop poke, hammer, break, back knuckle, punch, and then close, right to left close. Then we move off left side, we move off left, and we go kick poke, elbow, elbow poke, chop poke, hammer, break, back knuckle, and there's no punch in the second side. We just stop at the back knuckle position. Okay? So we'll play with that a little bit, work on that. We'll be back with the next set of moves. Okay, I hope you have that figured out and down pretty well. Let me talk a little bit about the hand isolation here, first of all. Remember, what we call hand isolations is food for thought, previews of coming attractions, things left out, or things to look for. There's lots of people that do this isolation and try to put different application to it. Like you see a lot of shuffling sideways. Say there's a man over here, then there's a man over here, then there's a man here and that. That's not the idea. That was just done because motion has to be something, and a lot of people want to make technique out of it. This goes back to Lichen 3, and this is just a clue for you to help you figure some things out, is we say that there are no two-man techniques in any of our forms. So like when we got to 3 and we did our isolation from our horse, when we went into our circles, we say, hey, this is one man, this is one man, this is one man, this is one man, but now here, this would have to be 2 men, and this would have to be 2 men. See? So because there are no two-man techniques in our form, we show motion that is two-man motion, or motion used against 2 opponents in an isolation. So we're going now in 4. A lot of this that's done is, again, motion or dual moves, as we call it, that has to be used against 2 men. But again, because there's no two-man techniques in the forms, we do it in isolation. Okay, now, from the last position, from our back knuckle, remember, in the horse, and I moved back on the center line so you can see the reference points. On the left side, on our back knuckle, remember, we don't have a low punch on the left side. So from the double back knuckle, then we turn and face a 130 in our right 45-degree cat, and we do a kick poke with the right hand and the right foot. So we just go kick poke. Now this is a category completion move and an opposite. Like when we started out and did the started, when we moved off, we went kick poke. But we used the left hand against the right foot. See, and we did the whole basic motion. And now we come to the same angle and we say, now don't forget, you can use the same side, the right hand and right foot. So we kick poke with the same side. So that's part of the category completion move there. Also, the tracking of our wrist. A lot of people do the block and drop the hand and make the poke, what we call in the air, or not using the tracking, threading, needling, complementary angle, whatever you want to call it. There are many terms. Now, originally there was one, which was complementary angle, and if you just understood and knew what complementary angle was, you were fine. And the original definition of complementary angle was following a body line to a target, whether it be yours or the opponent's. So here you're complementing your own angle of your own wrist and shooting as the guideline of using your wrist for that poke. See, so this is important because we're going to do it later on. We get into the form. If you know the form, we say we track outside, then we're going to track inside, and in 2 we already tracked the top side, see, and then we're going to track the bottom side in the next form of 5. See, so here we have our inside, outside, or outside, inside, up and down to make the category complete. So again, when we move, we just say, okay, don't forget, we can kick poke with the same side. Now when we kick poke, we plant back square in your horse. So you make sure that you're on your center line. So this is to 130. As soon as your foot hits the ground, you transition to the opposite side to face 1030. We kick poke, and we're going to land back in the horse. Now here we have a move just like we had in 2, where we have to put a little draw on our hand to use it to bring in our next move. Now I'll show the move in 4 and then I'll relate it to the move in 2. When we go block and we go kick poke, we're going to land in our horse and we want an extra little right inward block. But the hand is already there. So you're going to have to draw it to give it the oomph you need. You say draw and shoot. Okay, that's just like in 2. When we came out of this position, we went poke, poke. There. Now, the right hand is the one that's out and cocked. It's ready to use. But the left hand is the one we're going to use, and it's not cocked. So when we go poke, poke, as we move, we got to stick the hand back out forward to let it come back. See, so this is like the reverse of that move. As the left hand is back, it has to go forward, and then I can drop back. So now, when I come from here, it's forward, so I'm going to draw it back and then come into the block position. So we need that extra little block when we land square. So we're coming off the square, again through both sides. We went 130, kick poke, horse transition, kick poke, draw, and hit the ground with our left inward. As soon as the foot hits the ground, I shift back to the 1030, 430 line. So it's just when the foot hits the ground, so stay centered, I kick 1030, land on the line, and step back to be neutral to 1030. Okay? So that's our footwork. It's just kick, down, and back. And the hands are going to become, there's actually 3 blocks of inward, becomes the downward, and then the outward moves outside, so they finish together. So we're going inward, outward, downward. Inward, outward, downward. Okay. So again, when we come from the kick poke, we go in, out, down. So when you stop moving, the outward, downward happen. This is the beginning of the intro to unfurling crane, or part of it, not the whole technique. Then we shuffle forward with our check. It can be out or outward block or handle, doesn't really matter, and the hammer fist, and then we reverse it with the claw back knuckle. Okay. Then we change to the opposite side. We go outward, shuffle in, outward hammer fist, claw back knuckle. See, this just reverses a move that we did again in 2 when we went here, here, and here. See, we wound up universal, upward hammer fist, and then claw back knuckle, winding up with the rear hand being the back knuckle. And now we're doing the same thing with the front hand winding up to be the back knuckle. See? So if you relate the two and look at it, you'll see that difference. So again, we'll do that position from the left side, kick poke, we land inward, outward, downward, shuffle, claw back knuckle. Outward, shuffle in, claw back knuckle. Okay, now again, to strike, a lot of people you'll see drop the elbow and put this in as vertical. And when you drop this and try to do it vertical, you take all your body mechanics away. Again, it's just like 2, that you're forming this X. These are the lines, the way you roll. It's like hitting a speed bag. You can't hit a speed bag this way and turn these vertical. You detract all your body mechanics to keep it going just normal and cut that and form that X. So when you move, you roll in that and keep that X going. Okay, so get that down and we'll be back with the next set. Okay, I hope that wasn't too much trouble for you. Now we're going to go back from the beginning and take it up to there before we add the next point. So we'll just start, we'll just pretend we did our salutation and we just did our close. So we're moving off, parry, parry, your kick poke, elbow, elbow poke, chop poke, hammer, break, back knuckle, and the punch for the right side with our right to left close. Then we move off on the left side. Kick poke, elbow, elbow poke, chop poke, hammer, break, back knuckle. Then we go cat, kick poke, cat, kick poke, land with our inward, transition back, shuffle in, claw back knuckle. Angle change to 130, shuffle in, claw back knuckle. We should have it like that up to that point. Okay, now we went through our corner lines of 1030 and 130 with the unfurling crane. We're now coming out of 130, coming back to our center line, and we're going to pass through the intersection. The intersection is right here at the cross, quite a bit in the form, or just like on the patch. Before we move on the angle, we're going to come back to the center of it. This intersection is the same as the one on the floor. So we're at 130 with our back knuckle. So our new man is going to come from 12 o'clock. So we're going to cat to 12, and to pick him up and drop straight back on the long line. And we're going to do 2 techniques, moving from 12 to 6, and then turn that around and move from 6 back to 12 with the next series. So you just see where we're going to be. We're just going to stay on this line like long 3 did, where we did techniques back and forth on one line. So we're coming again from 130. We're going to cat in and pick up outside, and again we're just following the back knuckle drops, becomes our parry and catch. What we're trying to do here, this technique is called destructive kneel. Okay, what we're trying to do is we're trying to do the backbreaker, but this is taught as a change up for the backbreaker, and I'll explain the problem that happens when we get here, and I'll bring Rick in to show this. Is the person comes in too deep on us, where we can't use all the fulcrums that we need for the normal technique. So we've got to, what we call shortcut it, and do a change up on the technique. So when we're moving, we come into the cat to 12, pick him up, and now, just for footwork, I'm going to do this sideways so you see it. We go what we call step drag, push drag, and pivot. Again, step drag, push drag, and pivot. Okay, so I'm going to come from this angle, so you'll see this sideways. This would be 12 o'clock. So where I'm coming in, when I go to my cat, and I'm forgetting the hands also, I'm going to step back long and go to my step drag. See? Then I'm going to push drag from there back to where I came, push drag, and then just pivot. And I'm going to use my marriage with gravity on this strike. So again on the footwork, see? I'm just going into my cat, then I'm going to go step drag, push drag, and then pivot. Okay, and that's where the power principle is going to come from. To work the hands, the figure 8 is as anything, everything advanced comes from the figure 8. Everything boils down to, we say, the figure 8. Okay, so when we pick the person up, so you see this for the camera, when I pick him up, then I'm going, we think of this as left over right, and then my back knuckle claw is right over left, then I change it back to left over right for my punch and back knuckle. So all we're doing is left over, left over, and again, that's the figure 8. It's just drag out. So with the footwork and the hands, remember this is off angle. I'm using this as a reference point so you can see it from the side. From the back knuckle, I pick him up, and I go to my step drag, my push drag, and my pivot drop with the back knuckle coming in. Okay, now from the front, as a reference point to 12, you won't see it that clear, but come in and go step drag, push drag, and the pivot drop of the back knuckle. Now the second side transition is a little harder, where we have to go around ourselves. Now I'll show it from the side again, and then I'll change to this side so you can see it from both sides, so you can pick up the left-sided transition. Again, from the first side, we go into the 12, pick him up with our step drag, our push drag, and our pivot drop. So now I'm going to transition over a little. So you see the line. I'm trying to stay on my line, basically. I'm going to go around behind myself with a left rear crossover. I'm going to go long so I can get my step drag again. So just forgetting the hands, going behind myself long to get my step drag, then my push drag, and then my pivot drop on the technique. So we'll put the hands on it. We'll do both sides. From the angle, I'll move up a little so you can stay on the line a little better. See, we come in, we go step drag, push drag, pivot drop, around behind with a long step drag, push drag, and our pivot drop with the left side. Now we do it from this angle and use 3 o'clock for 12, and I'll come off of 4:30 where you'll see the left side. This is strictly for the left-handed hands. So when I move in, pick him up with my step drag, push drag, pivot drop. Now here's the camera angle we're looking for. When I step back long, see, then I get my catch of my step drag, change on my push drag, and my pivot drop for the strike. Okay. So again, we went in angle, correct angle now, from 12 o'clock. We moved back towards 6 and back towards 6. So we had 2 techniques moving back to 6. And that was both destructive kneel. So work on that, and we'll be back with the coming from 6 to 12. Okay, I hope, again, you've got that part down. Now, let me make a little correction here. As I was thinking of reverses and opposites when I said that the move we're doing here, destructive kneel, was we were trying to do the backbreaker. The backbreaker moves forward on the pickup. This is in reverse, and what the technique should be is leap of death. So we're trying to do leap of death, but the range gets jammed or too tight, so we have to go into destructive kneel. Now, let me explain that here. I'll bring Rick in to show the principle here. And in normal leap of death, when the person comes in with a punch, we have range to use our reach and our torque and our body mechanics to get the strike. And like if he's coming in with a punch, and I drop back and I hit the elbow, and I go to my reverse, and get my back knuckle in, and come to the shoulder, and do my takedown, that's the range that we're hoping to get. But now the principle is the person in destructive kneel steps too close, and he steps in basically half the distance of your stance. And I'm going to use the pattern on the floor to point this out. Like if I was above the X, if I dropped back in a stance, see the intersection now is halfway between my front foot and back foot. And this is what I mean by the guys really hauling in on us to do the technique. So this is where the step would be. Again, just move into position here, Rick, with your foot. See, so the step is like this. It'd be real deep. Doesn't have to be in this exact alignment, but he's too deep on me to work my brake, and my back knuckle is too short and travel and jammed up, see. So this is the principle, again, we're looking at. So when he comes in, really hauling in there with this, we're going, oh, I can't do the mechanics, so I just do my drag. That was my step, and my drag comes in to hit the knee. You're going down on your knee, Rick, and take him down on this knee, the knee that I'm hitting. See, and then the back knuckle and the claw. The back knuckle goes under the arm, and the claw goes through the face to change, and then the pivot is the drive down with the back knuckle and the punch. See, so that's just the range factor on how that works. Okay, so now we'll get into the next set of moves. Thank you, Rick. Okay. Again, we walked from our 2 techniques back from 12 to 6. So now we're going to turn this around and walk from 6 back to 12. Now, the person here, remember we pointed out that he stepped into half of our stance, and that's a principle that we use, that when we do a twist, a rotating twist, that we never lose more than half the distance of our stance. So if I did a rotating twist from here, if I drew my front foot back, this line, the line you see here, is the 6-12 line. I wouldn't come behind that line. That's losing too much ground. Now again, in application, you do what you have to do. If you had to go there, you had to go there. But as far as form mechanics go and form rules and principles, we don't lose but half of our stance. So in the line, when we do our rotation, we come to the line, and what we want to get here is move outside. I see a lot of people. I just did a seminar on 4, and a lot of people that had it, they weren't changing their line. They were just staying where they were at. The idea here is we're inside and we want to go outside. And we do that a lot in the forms, change our line. Now, let me point this out again. Rick, come back out, please, to show you the principle we're looking for. So here, just stick your arms out, Rick. So here, we've talked about this before. This is inside the arms, and here naturally is outside, and here is outside. So the principle is like, hey, being inside or in this position, say, I don't want to be inside, so I'd much rather be outside. And that's the principle we're using from here. So this is for a right punch, the technique we're doing now. We're going into flashing wings. But I'm just going to have Rick come up behind me from this angle. Again, we're on the wrong angle. It would be 6 to 12, but here we can see what's going on. And you'll see how I maneuver outside. So I'm on the line doing the left side of my technique. I'll stay on the line, and so you can see me move outside. So what I want Rick to do from my kneel is just come in, walking up behind me like he's going to grab both shoulders with his hands, and this will point out those lines. So I'm in my kneel, and I see Rick coming in to grab me, and if I just turned around like a lot of people do, you see I'm back inside, and we don't want to be here. I want to be outside. So come in again, Rick. From here, when I see him coming, I say, hey, wait a minute. Let me move outside. And this is what we want to show here, is moving outside. Okay, now, move out just a minute, Rick, and I'll bring you back in a second. Now from the alignment, I'm going to shoot again from this corner so we can see what's going on with our hands. We're going to lose, I'll move back on the intersection where you can see the foot move to the right position. When I move, I rotate to the line with my upward block. Okay, then I'm going to step out with my inward block. Okay, so that's our 2 moves here, is our upward followed by our inward. So again, I'm on the line. I'll just go back to the intersection. On the line, he's coming. I rotate up and step out inward. From here, I get my push drag into my knee check position. Then my elbow, I'm going to pivot in place with my elbow to get my bracing angle. That's another common mistake in flashing wings, is everybody understands the rule and principle of bracing angle, but don't use it here for some reason. Like, if I go to a forward bow and elbow, that's fine here. It turns my body and uses the power principle of torque. But if I stay in this position and elbow this way, I'm creating a line of force this way, and if you get in this position, just put your hand on the wall and push, and you will push yourself right off balance. You have no bracing angle. You have to set up bracing angle. So again, from the elbow, if I'm going to hit this way, I have to turn that way like I'm pushing, and I set my base as a bracing angle into that strike. You have to have the bracing angle. It's just standard, same way we do the technique. So I'll go through the whole series with the footwork let me use this angle again so we can see it. I'll go back to square. From the punch, I rotate with my upward, step out, block, get my elbow, then my chop check, and then the pivot back in with the hand. Now, we work that from this corner where I would be. You can see it a little better. From the rotation, I move outside, upward, my block, my shuffle, elbow, my shuffle, and then back to the square on the line. Okay, now to keep moving from here, I'm just going to do the same transition of moving across. Again, half the distance of my stance, coming back. See, half the distance, like from the center line, you see it here. Move back to the halfway point. See, with my upward, step out, get my elbow, and the shuffle, and then the chop back in. Okay, now from the line, actual position is over at 9. This is where the form would be, where you'd be watching it from 12. As I rotate outside, block, get my knee, chop, into position, and reverse it. Upward left side, block, shuffle, elbow, into position, and reverse it. Everybody knows the technique, but I'm going to point out something here. That's not really a double block, as it would break Kenpo principles or rules if you did a double block. That's a waste. So the move is actually what we call our arm break. So Rick, I'm going to have you come in with the punch now. I'll show you what we should be doing or how we should be thinking to do the form. So I'm in my kneel, and I see Rick coming in with the punch. To move outside and block it, the step is actually your break on the arm. See? Then I shuffle in to bring the knee into check, get my second elbow, when I set my bracing angle. Then I have to shuffle back in front of him with my chop, check, to my knee check, and then bring in the chop as the last move. So that's how the technique should be done. I wasn't going to show this, but I will, because it shows you how to be thinking. You notice that we did our 2 techniques from 12 to 6. Then we turned around and moved. That was destructive kneel. Then we turned around moved from 6 to 12 with flashing wings. And what we did was we reversed the footwork principle, or footwork pattern. Okay, we had our step, drag, push, drag, pivot in the first technique, and that was to get behind the man to finish. And now we did the same thing to get in front of the man to finish. See? So point this out like it is in the form, so you'll see it from sideways. When I picked him up, I went, okay, he's coming from here. I went step drag to bring in my knee check in reverse. Now, then I'm going to shuffle and push drag to get behind him. Then I stay behind him and drop into my twist, not twist, but marriage with gravity into my kneel and hit down. Okay, so I had my step drag, push drag, pivot. Now in flashing wings, when I moved forward, I said, okay, let's get position. Let's step drag, hit, and then I go into my chop check. That's my push drag, but now that's to get me back in front of him, and then I pivot to hit up instead of pivoting to hit down. But the footwork was the same. Just reversed it to get behind him and to get in front of him. Okay, if you don't, let me use Rick again to point this out. Again, just to point out things of how you should be looking at the form. Is remember, Kenpo forms don't represent a fight. They teach the rules and principles of motion, that everything has a reverse and an opposite, and you're given an example of it. If I did this through the whole form, I would be giving out more information than I really want to give, but also would have to have much more tape and many more tapes just on this form. And that's not the idea we want to do right now. So again, in destructive kneel, when Rick's coming in and he's deep, I say, oh, let me drag to break him down. Let's go down on this knee. And that was my step drag. My drag is what put him down. And I say, I'm in front of him a little too much. Let me push drag to get behind him. And then I'll just pivot in place and drop and hit down. See, so I did my step drag to take him down, but I'm in front of him. Then I push drag to get behind him, and then I just pivot and drop. So now in flashing wings, to just watch the technique, he comes in with a right. I say, whether I move forward or back, put the brake on, doesn't matter. I say, let me push drag. See, and now I'm behind him. See, so now when I hit, and I come into my tape, I say, let me push drag to get back in front of him, and let me pivot from there and hit up instead of down, see? So it just reversed the principle. That's why we did the two techniques back and forth on the same line, to work the same body mechanics and shuffles, but reverse the principle. Okay, so work on that, and we'll be back with the next series. Okay, I hope you got that down. Now, we'll add the next technique. It's called gathering clouds, and there's what we want to mirror our position here. So you notice, remember again, we worked from 6 and 12 and went back and forth on that line from 12 to 6 for 2 techniques, and then 2 techniques back. So now we'd be facing 12 in a kneel, and this is just so you pick up the footwork. You see the heel and toe alignment to the camera. And all I'm going to do here is to, remember, we're working our pattern, we're establishing our cross, so we have our long 6-12 line, so we need to cross it now with our 3-9 line. So all I'm going to do is take my left foot and move it back. Only the width of my foot, as you notice the heel's on the line. All I have to do is move it back so my toe is on the line and both toes will be on the line. That's all the motion we're looking for, is a square into my horse. So I just step back and move to the horse. Now to see that from the side, again, like this would be front, and I'm on my alignment in the left side of flashing wings. I just step back and square to face 9 o'clock. Very short little move. Okay, now the hand work. So again, this is the wrong angle, but so you can see what's going on with the hands. My hands are crossed like I did a scissor move, and they're really cocked like to unwind, just like it would be in the crane. We come to this position of the crane, and I would move and hit from there. See, just in and out, I'm making my scissor motion. But I'm going to not use that. I'm going to come out of that, see, and drop down with my hands and make my circle to do my parry to hit in again. So I'm really, it's like you're doing this twice, is 1, 2. See, that's the motion we're looking at. So I did my check and chop. I'm going to drop the foot back to the line, and when that happens, I want to have my parry happen for gathering clouds. So the hands have to hustle here like they did in the difference between short 3 and long 3. And that meaning that, you remember when we did short 3, coming out of here, we went, okay, let's get our hands up, and I'm going to step into a cat and crash my wings. But in long 3, you're already in a horse, and all you're going to do is step your foot out, basically the same amount we're talking about here. My hands are going to have to go up and get cocked and come down again in that same amount of motion. So I have to get my hands up and down with the settle of that. So again, so we go, and we saddle here. It's the same idea as doing this move when I come from the check chop, is to get my hands to drop and become my inward parry and back knuckle when the foot moves back and squares us off. So in the motion, we're looking at, and just we saddle. We just move, and we make our saddle. Now, the center line here, I put down a triangle, but it would mess up the pattern. I just want you to imagine a triangle of me standing on the base, and then 2 points running lines up to the point. Or you can look at this on the side. If I was this way, then you could see the point coming up, but I want to keep square to the camera so you can see what's going on. So what I'm trying to do here is mirror this position. I don't want to be off this position at all. So when I step in with the technique, this is just going over the footwork. I'm going to step in with my right foot, not past the line and not on the line, but if I had another line. In fact, there's a stick over there somewhere. Want to hand me that stick? There we go. Thank you, Rick. Now, if I was in my horse here, and I put this line up, then you could see that would represent the railroad track, like where the foot is pointed. So I'm going to step between here, the point and the corner, basically at halfway again. So that gives me a place to put my foot. This is a little bit off here. Let me move it in a little so you can see the reference of the lines. So when I step now, I'm going to step between the point and the corner, so when my other foot comes around behind, now I would be on the stick, but I want to move the stick, and I unwind and step off, I will have my mirror position exactly like looking in a mirror where I came from. So let me use Rick here to point this out a little bit more. I just want Rick here to stand behind me with his toes against my heels. So this represents, he is my image in the mirror. See, so if I step to the point, and then you shouldn't basically be able to see Rick. He should just be just like, if he is sticking out somewhere, it should be very little. In other words, it shouldn't look like this where you could see him, see. So and that's what I want to try to get to happen again when I move. So if I move wrong and I come over to the point and do my transition and step off, then you see I'm staggered and you see about half a Rick. This is not what we're looking for. I'm trying to be mirror image in the same spot. So when I come off and move, that I'll step to the inside. So when I get behind, unwind and step off, you should see that our feet are basically in the same line and we mirror our position that we came from. So that's the footwork pattern we're looking for, is to mirror your last position. Thank you, Rick. Okay, now we're doing gathering clouds. So we're on the alignment. We move back with our middle knuckle, and we're going to chop and step in with our elbow sandwich. Okay, then you're going to freeze your hands in this position as you move behind and unwind. And then when we step off, I can drop the hands and make my parry. Now it's my right parry and my left middle knuckle, and my chop and step in to the corner of the square. Okay, now let me get an angle where we can see that a little better. Where that would be. Let me just do it from the front again, for the first part. When we move, we're dropping back, dropping your hands. We have our left inward parry and our right middle knuckle. We make our chop and move into the corner with the elbow. Okay, now what we're looking for here, let me turn this around where you can see it better. I'm going to move toward 6, which would be the opposite side. See, so I'm inside. I'm going to go around behind, and I still have my hands in position. So now when I step off, I have to drop my hands and do the left side. I drop my hands, and the left side happens. Then I chop and come into the left side between the point and the corner of the triangle. Okay, so in actual position, that would be facing 12, coming out of flashing wings, going into gathering clouds to 9, step to the inside, around behind, unwind, step off, make my chop and come in. Okay, now this is the end of the technique, and you're just working the 1, 2, 3 of flip-flop in the end of the stick. Okay, so just add gathering clouds, first one to 9, second one to 3. That shouldn't take you long. Okay, have at it. Okay, I hope you got that down. Now we move into the intersection again. Now we've just completed, if you looked at our pattern, we completed our 6-12 and our 3-9 lines. And that was with our destructive kneel and flashing wings moving back from 6 to 12. Then we went to gathering clouds to face 3 and 9. So now we're going to come into the intersection like I talked about earlier. And I'll do this on pattern so you see it. I'm coming out of the left side of gathering clouds with my elbow. I'm just going to draw back my foot, and again this is going to put us in the intersection. Then I'm going to move to the corner of 10-30 to do circles of protection. Now, let me point something out here. As I see a lot of people winning tournaments all across the country with this form, and in a lot of the Kenpo forms, but a lot of people, when they do this technique, their hands are way ahead of their footwork. A lot of people, I'll show you how this is done, so you know what I'm talking about. You might, have seen it this way or do it yourself this way, if you know the form. Rule number 1 has to happen, and that's establish your base before you can move. So what we're trying to do here is move to the intersection, and then slide off into our neutral, facing the angle that we want to do the technique. Now, when my foot gets here at 10-30, that says my hands can move. So I can't move until I step out, the same way you do the technique in normal. When you step out, you can move. See? So in transition, to point this out how it's done, there's a lot of people, they start their hand work, and when the foot gets here, the hands have already done the technique. See? So it's impossible to do. You have to step out, and then you can do the footwork. So when we move, again, we keep the hands in position. This is what we call, like Mr. Parker used to call rock the baby, that your right hand is under the left for the right side, and then the left hand will go under the right for the left side. So when we move, we're in that position already, as my right hand is outside, so when I move and drop my hands, my right hand is underneath the left. So when I come into the rock the baby position, step out in the corner, then I can go to my forward and use my backhand, then my neutral with the front hand, then into my kneel, for my and then my oppose, my rip pull and back knuckle. Just let me put that together again. Coming from the elbow, gathering clouds, into the intersection, up to 1030, backhand, front hand, backhand, front hand. Now, the transition for the second side is when I shuffle and do my pull back knuckle, my hand comes right back and goes left under right, and that takes me right into my transition to step across with the hand set, then into 430 with the backhand, front hand, backhand, front hand. Okay, so let me put that together, coming from this angle, so we'll see it. From the elbow of gathering clouds again, into the intersection, slide out, backhand, front hand, front hand, cross over, step out, backhand, front hand, front hand on the pull to oppose that. Now, in where the form would be, taking it from the gathering clouds position, that we stepped from flashing wings to face 9, then our transition came around to face 3. Again, I'll move to the intersection where you can see this. This is in alignment or real position for the form according to the camera. Come into the intersection, up to 1030, hit, move, and go. Coming back, out, hit, around, and shuffle. So I'll put that together, and we'll be back with the next one. Okay, I hope that's not much of a problem. Now we're on our X line, remember now, so we're going to add the opposite line of our 130, 730 corner, and for the camera, the best angle to do this will probably be the original or the real form angle, as I'm coming from 430, or I just finished at 430 with my right back knuckle. So to stay in where you see this on the pattern, I'm going to be in my back knuckle position, and my foot, my back foot, I'm going to have at the intersection for the back knuckle. So when I come around behind myself, you'll see that my left heel is basically in the intersection. If I unwound from here, see, I would be neutral with my toe right in the intersection, but we don't unwind here. We're going to do this a few times in the form. This is just going to give us our line. So from the back knuckle, what we say here is double out and double in, meaning parry. We double parry out and we double parry in. So coming out, we go right, left, and moving in, we go left, right. We have to spend a lot of time in going over the techniques to show you this on a body, and I'm going to bypass that right now, as you should know the techniques anyway. But this is so we don't pass a zone of a joint, main joint of the body in our checking. That's why it's done that way. But anyway, from the back knuckle, we move around with a double out. This is a kick punch. And then I right or left, right, the double in. I step to my alignment. I have my base. Then I pivot with my shot. Now this basically square. This is the same thing we did earlier in destructive kneel, but it was down. See? So I make my hit. My left hand, I grab and back knuckle. My right hand check down. Goes into the poke of the right eye. And here again we say poke, sweep, poke. Just like in the end we'll say sweep, punch, plant. This is poke 1, sweep 2, poke 3 when your foot lands. So we say poke, sweep, poke, and we're heading back to the front corner, or 130 corner. So again, from in transition, I'll move around myself. I'll go double out, double in, set, back knuckle punch, grab back knuckle, check the arm down, poke, sweep, poke. When we land in the cross, Mr. Parker used to say, freeze your hands, like you're playing cowboys and Indians, going bang, 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 shooting back at the Indians. Then we just unwind from there. This makes us face 130. We double out in our rear crossover and double in. Make your step and set. Your punch back knuckle. Right hand now grab back knuckle. Left hand sweep the arm down, poke, sweep, poke, and you notice this put this back in the intersection again. And that's where we should be. Okay, so let's do that series of moves one more time, and I'll let you play with it. We're coming from 430. We go around, double out to 730, double in, set, punch and back knuckle, sweep, poke, unwind to 130, double out, double in, set, punch back knuckle, grab back knuckle, sweep the arm down, poke, sweep, poke, and we're back in the intersection. So play with that, and we're back in a minute. Okay, I hope you've got that down. Now let's take a quick review here. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the form. We're not going to do the salutation. We'll just take it from the first technique, take it up to our point here where we just finished our X pattern over the cross. Okay, so we're just basically starting in the middle of the intersection after we just closed. So we're moving off with our parry off, our kick poke, elbow, elbow poke, chop poke, hammer, break, back knuckle, punch, and close. And we move off with our double, kick poke, elbow, elbow poke, chop poke, hammer, break, back knuckle, cat, kick poke, transition, kick poke, down, moving back, shuffle in, claw back knuckle. 130 back, in, claw back knuckle. Picking up the 12 line, step drag, push drag, pivot drop. Long step drag, push drag, pivot drop. Move outside, block, elbow, elbow, chop, check, chop. Move across, outside, block, elbow, elbow, move back, and cross the line, gathering clouds. Move in behind, step off, in, cat to our center line, corner, and shuffle. Cross, out, down, shuffle. Double out, double in, set, strike, claw back knuckle, sweep, poke, unwind, double out, double in, set, strike, back knuckle, sweep, poke, and that's where we stop. We just finished again our crossover, our X. We're out of tape on this section, so we'll continue this in our next tape. Moving on back to our X line, or cross line, after leaving the X. So we'll pick it up later on the next tape. Thank you.